Hello ECF, hope you're well and hope you're enjoying this festive season as we draw close to Christmas. And as we continue in the Psalms and grow closer to the near of the Psalms, I hope they've been a blessing to you. Once again, we're going through the last bit of the Psalms, specifically the Songs of Ascent, which are shorter. And so what I'm going to do today again is, rather than pick up on one theme, to go through each Psalm and just pick up on one idea from each of them, and hopefully it's an encouragement to each of you. So let's start in Psalm 127, and many of us will know this first part, but something we should remember on a daily basis. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. This not only is applied to building, as in the case of with Solomon and building God's temple and building Israel, but specifically to us as we think about ministry, as we think about our church, really as we think of anything in life. Unless the Lord builds it, it's a labor in vain, which then requires us to be consistently going to the Lord and asking Him, is this what we should do? Is this what we should build? Is this where we should apply our time? So have that in mind as you go through each day. Psalm 128, blessed is the Lord who fears the Lord, who walks in His ways. Now, I'm sure we know that. We've heard that theme of fearing the Lord, but I love what it's attached to. Look at verse 2. You shall eat the fruit of the labor of your hands. You shall be blessed, and it shall be well with you. Notice how it's connected here, the fear of the Lord with working. So as you go into work, whatever it is the fear of the Lord present on your mind? Or is work like a time in which you don't need to think about the Lord, and you only think about the Lord after work or when it comes to church? Here we get the picture of fearing the Lord needs to be something that we do every minute of every hour of every day. Psalm 129, as it continues as we go through the passage, an interesting passage once again as it speaks about what the writer is going through. But verse 2, greatly have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. The plows plowed upon my back, they made long their furrows. The Lord is righteous, He has cut the cords of the wicked. So notice here that the person speaking is saying that they've been greatly afflicted by others. They've afflicted them throughout their lives. They've gone through suffering. But what they realize is that they will not be prevailed against, because the Lord is righteous. The Lord will cut the wicked. And so in the same way with us, as we've mentioned a couple of times in the Psalms, it may feel like the bad guy is winning, or those who are unrighteous are causing much pain, but we must always remember the Lord is righteous. He will have judgment and He will make things right. Psalm 130, and just this verse 3 is something that cuts to the soul. If you, O Lord, should mark iniquities, O Lord, who could stand? The picture here of like, well, if the Lord just called out all our iniquities all the time, would we ever be able to stand? But yet, note, but with you there is forgiveness, that you may be feared. So once again, we hear this theme of fear, but it's connected to forgiveness. So the Lord forgives you because of your iniquities, and what should come out of that forgiveness is a fear of the Lord, not just an awe, but this idea of like, how could this Lord ever forgive me? It's something that should be applied to when we ask for forgiveness. This takes away the idea of just saying sorry and getting on with it, because the picture here is it's a recognition of who God is. Psalm 131. Here you get this person who is sort of downcast, but notice verse 2, but I have calmed and quieted my soul like a weaned child with its mother, like a weaned child is my soul within me. Here the picture, even when you're downtrodden, what should we do? Calm and quiet our soul. Not to go into chaos, not to become too emotional, but rather to calm and quiet ourselves before the Lord. Psalm 133 is a big reminder here of what the people of Israel have been through. And notice at verse 11, the Lord swore to David a sure oath from which He will not turn back. Once again, there's this cry out here to God for the promises He has given. And we sometimes think, well, why tell God that? Why sing that? Well, it's not only important to sing that for our own souls, for us to remember that the Lord will not forget, but I think it's also an act of worship to cry out to God in His glory that Lord, you have made this oath, and we know that you will keep it. So in the same way for each of you, as you think about what the Lord has done in your lives, to cry out the promises. Notice verse 15. I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. Once again, a picture of crying out to the Lord and knowing that he will provide. Psalm 133. And I love how this ends here. Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity. You see, you get the picture there? It's the picture of how pleasant and good it is when brothers dwell in unity. And what a wonderful way to finish this passage. Speak about the idea of the fear of the Lord, speak about God's forgiveness, but now finishing here with the idea, let us seek unity out. How do we find unity? Well, we need to spend time with our brothers and sisters in Christ. But for each of you, seek unity out always. Thank you, ECF. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you find fear in the Lord during the week. I hope you seek him out to build what needs to be built. I hope you seek him out in forgiveness, but also I hope you find unity with your brothers and sisters in Christ. Have a wonderful week, ECF. Bye.